Good morning and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I know we're going to have a few stragglers coming in, maybe trying to still figure out Zoom. Unfortunately, as you all know, we can't really meet in person, and that's too bad, but I'm glad we could at least do it this way and get to see the speakers, and we could still connect in this way. So this is a great thing. But yeah, welcome to this drought contingency plan and impacts of Central Arizona Project Water Deliveries to Pinal area farmers virtual workshop. Again, yeah, Sharma Torrens with the Arizona Association of Conservation Districts. This workshop was sponsored and put on by the Eloy, Florence Coolidge, as well as West Pinal Natural Resource Conservation Districts, NRCDs. This is going to be a day of acronyms for this workshop for sure. So it's put on by our Natural Resource Conservation Districts in Pinal County. So thank you so much for doing that. And yeah, thank you to the NRCDs and thank you to all our great speakers we have lined up today. This is going to be a great workshop. It's going to be brief. We're going to try to let you go maybe between 11:30 and 12, but we've got it stocked full of great information. So one thing, and I'm sorry for some of you that received an older agenda. So this is how it's going to work this morning. So I'm quickly going to talk about the Natural Resource Conservation Districts, the NRCDs, as well as the Arizona Association of Conservation Districts, the AACD. Again, world of acronyms. So I'm going to briefly talk about that real quickly this morning. Then we're going to hear from Nancy Caywood, who's a supervisor on our West Pinal Natural Resource Conservation District, NRCD. We're going to hear from Phil Jacquet from the U.S. Department of Agriculture Natural Resources Conservation Service, which we will call NRCS. And he'll speak about NRCS programs. We're going to hear from Supervisor Steve Miller from the 3rd District of Pinal County. He's going to talk about the water situation and the county perspectives on the drought contingency plan. And then we're honored to have Sharon Megdal with us too, and she's going to end the day. She's with the University of Arizona Water Resources Research Center, and she's going to be talking about the drought contingency plan, which we will call the DCP, and specifically its impacts to Pinal area farmers. And just so you know, we know the DCP, the drought contingency plan, it's kind of a contentious topic. It hits a sore spot with a lot of folks. We think it's important to talk about it, and our NRCDs definitely want it out because we think a lot of folks, farmers and ranchers and producers, don't know about it, and all of us, maybe many of others of us that don't know about it. I know I'm not an expert on DCP, so we're all here to learn about that, and that's what Sharon Megdal is going to do, and Supervisor Miller will kind of give us the water situation. So again, yeah, I think we're going to try to wrap up between 11:30 and 12, so this will be brief, but a little bit of housekeeping. So for all you attendees, and thank you for joining us, we welcome you, and we hope you find this to be beneficial. A few housekeeping. So for those of you new to Zoom, so one, you are all muted and you are not on video. We just have the panelists on video and audio. So if you would like to say anything, you have any questions or comments at any time throughout this workshop, please go to the lower portion of the screen. If you put your arrow down there, a black menu comes up with mute, stop video, participants, Q&A, polls, chat, share screen, etc. If you go down to that part and you click on the chat, you can put in a question at any time, and I will be reading these questions. So please feel free to at any time type in a comment, a question. I will bring those up, those to the speakers. So please feel free to do that. Again, we're going to be recording this workshop, so just so you're aware, and I think the panelists were all okay with that. And again, I just want to emphasize again, and I know it says my name down there, but I'm Sharma Torrens. I am the Conservation Education Director with the Arizona Association of Conservation Districts, the AACD. And real quick, before we get started and hear from all our great speakers and about the drought contingency plan and the water situation out there, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the AACD and the Natural Resource Conservation Districts, again, the NRCDs. So I'd like to tell you about them. So the AACD is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that supports and promotes the 42 Arizona NRCDs in our state. And again, I'll tell you what the NRCDs are. They're very important groups. So the NRCDs were created in 1941 after the Great Dust Bowl of the 1930s, when the dust cloud was so great it reached the Capitol and Congress, and presidents started paying attention to the conservation of water and soil. So they encouraged all states to put forth these conservation districts, and they're called different things in different states. There's 3,000 around the nation. Here they are the Natural Resource Conservation Districts, the NRCDs. Again, there's 42 of them, but they were created in 1941. The AACD, again, the nonprofit that supports and promotes them, was created in 1944. Okay, so 32 of these NRCDs are political subdivisions of the state. So it's administered through the Arizona State Land Department. So Commissioner Atkins, one of the hats she wears, one of the many hats she wears, is also our Natural Resources Conservation Commissioner over the 32. And then 10 of those are tribal in our state. But basically they're made up of farmers, ranchers, and other private landowners that are volunteering their time to conserve agriculture, our food supply, our farms and our ranches, as well as natural resources. So wildlife habitat, migratory corridors, water, soil, etc. So they've kind of got a broad scope there. But the folks in these NRCDs are called supervisors. So just like we have Supervisor Miller here from the county, our folks within the NRCDs are also called supervisors. And we've got a supervisor from our West Pinal NRCD with us too. But basically, yeah, they conserve agriculture and natural resources, and how they do this is they work with federal, state, and local agencies and other entities to get conservation funds. And then they work with all the private landowners in their district, which are called cooperators, almost like members. So they work with all the private landowners in their district to get the conservation work on the ground. The NRCDs also have education centers where they seek to educate children to adults about the importance of agriculture and of conservation in general. And they work with the Farm Bureau, the Arizona Farm Bureau, the U of A Cooperative Extension, etc. on this. So they do a lot of great efforts there. But lastly, I've just given you an overview of the NRCDs and the AACD, but basically what I think makes them truly unique is that, one, because they have such a broad scope and they focus on, again, conserving our food supply and the farms and ranches and agriculture, but also the wildlife habitat, the migratory corridors, the water, soil. It's a broad scope, and so they can appeal to a broad audience. So they can facilitate larger collaborations between what has probably been disparate groups in the past. And when I say that, I mean groups that may not have necessarily always worked together. So agriculture groups, conservation groups, groups focused on food and the importance of local food and food banks and things like that. So we, the NRCDs, when I say we, the NRCDs are truly unique in that they can facilitate these larger collaborations and bring everybody together, because there are aligned interests and there are things that we find commonalities and we can work together on. So that's one thing that makes them truly unique. The second thing that makes them truly unique, the NRCDs have the ability to educate the public about the importance of agriculture to all society. And I say this because I was one of those that had a very negative view of very negative view of agriculture and of farmers and ranchers in general. It was really getting to know these supervisors within these NRCDs that are volunteering their time, these farmers and ranchers that are working to conserve not only the agriculture and our food, but also wildlife habitat, migratory corridors, all the natural resources we also need. And that's what really had a pivotal impact on giving me a positive view of agriculture and allowing me to open my mind and start to really learn about it. Now I'd like to think I'm one of the greatest advocates for agriculture. So I just wanted to tell you what I think really makes them unique. If you have any questions, I'm going to be giving my contact information, especially at the end, but feel free to reach out to us. We've also got a website, which is aacd1944.com, which you can check out, and I will be putting that at the end as well. But I just wanted to give you this 60,000 foot view of the AACD and the NRCDs, because most folks if they know about us, maybe they didn't know all of that, or maybe a lot of folks don't know about us in general. And again, I think if folks knew about the NRCDs, it would have a very positive, have a positive change if they have any negative views about agriculture whatsoever. So, okay, so hopefully that gives you kind of glimpse about the AACDs and the NRCDs. And I'm actually going to state my email here, but again, I'll put it up at the end. So if you don't write it down, that's okay. But it's Sharma, SHARMA, period, Torrens, TORRENS, at AACD1944.com. And I will give that to you again. And my cell phone, if anyone ever wants to talk, I'm quite a talker, but I'm happy to share about the NRCDs and the AACD, 602-540-5331. And please feel free to reach out to me. And again, yes, Sharma Torrens with the AACD. Okay, so now we're going to move on to really the good stuff. Okay, so before I introduce Supervisor Nancy Caywood with our West Pinal Natural Resource Conservation District, I'm going to remind you again that there's a chat box at the bottom of the screen. You see a black menu across the bottom. Click on the chat, and you will be able to type any questions or comments you have, and feel free to do that throughout. I will read it to the speakers. So please do that, because you are all muted and you're not on video. It's only the panelists that are on video and that can speak. So please use the chat. Or if you raise your hand or make some indication if you can't get the chat to work, I will be paying attention and I will send you a message or something, okay? So thank you for that. Okay, so moving on and introducing, so Nancy Caywood, we're glad to have Nancy Caywood with us. She is a supervisor with the West Pinal Natural Resource Conservation District. And I've got her bio here, so it's impressive. But Nancy Caywood is a native Arizonan and third-generation farmer. Farm is now in its 5th generation, been around since the 1930s. Wow. She attended ASU. Yay! I don't know if we have any ASU folks out there, but yay, go Sun Devils. So she attended ASU. She has a Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education. She taught 1st and 2nd grades. And this is where she discovered that children don't know where their food comes from. And she's received several awards from the West Pinal Natural Resource Conservation District, the Arizona Association of Conservation Districts, and the National Association of Conservation Districts. And the NACD, the National Association, oversees all the conservation districts in the country. And remember, I told you there are 3,000. But she's received all these awards for incorporating agriculture into her classroom curriculum. So that's great. And then in 1996, she went to work with the West Pinal, Coolidge, Florence, and Eloy NRCDs to run the Education Center, which became the Natural Resource Education Center. That's located at the Central Arizona College, now being run by Jennifer Salcedo over there, and it's still going strong. She attended University of Arizona. I know we've got some U of A folks out there, so she attended U of A, and she has her master's in agriculture education. In 2001, she went to work for the University of California Desert Research and Extension Service, which is a 255-acre research farm located in Holtville, California. She was there to start the Ag Literacy Education Outreach Program. So a lot of experience in ag education and outreach. That's wonderful. She retired in 2013, but then she created an education program on her family farm, which is called Caywood Farm. The program targets mostly winter visitors with the program on her farm. She serves on the following boards: West Pinal NRCD, she's a supervisor; Pinal County Farm Bureau, Arizona Farm Bureau, she's a board member for the Women's Leadership Committee; Central Arizona Fairgrounds Association, she's a board member; American Farm Bureau Grassroots Outreach Team, she's a member; Casa Grande Elementary School Career Camps, committee member; Arizona Farmer and Ranchers Hall of Fame, committee member; and she's currently running for the Casa Grande Elementary School Board as a write-in candidate. Good luck with that. So she breathes agriculture. Very important to her to share the story that she thinks needs to be told. She thinks advocacy is very important because of all the challenges and issues farmers face, and she wants to play a positive and informed role to help get the word out. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Nancy Caywood, again, supervisor, among everything else I read, also a supervisor of our West Pinal Natural Resource Conservation District that helped put on this workshop. So Nancy, take it away. I'm going to unmute you and you can welcome folks and state a few words. All right, Nancy, there we go.
Okay, can you all hear me? I think so. All right, first of all, I want to say hello and welcome. We're glad you're here attending this meeting and showing interest. As a supervisor on the West Pinal NRCD board, I want to invite you to get to know your NRCDs and what our mission and goals are. Meetings and work group sessions are open, and we welcome and encourage everyone to attend. Your issues and concerns are very important to us and need to be brought to our attention. Each NRCD offers various areas of conservation planning, offers various areas of conservation planning depending upon the regional needs. So our NRCD, West Pinal, as well as Coolidge, Florence, and the Eloy NRCDs, they mostly focus on land leveling and ditch lining, whereas other NRCDs might focus on riparian, invasive species, air quality, dust control, and other conservation issues. If you are a farmer, a rancher, a landscaper, a city employee, employed by a university, or any other person who sees the need for conservation planning that needs to be addressed, please come to our meetings and get involved. We need you. Your input is very valuable to us. Here's an example of involvement. The Santa Cruz Wash has a tributary that causes flooding in the city limits of Casa Grande. Local farmer and board member Freddie Dewan brought it to the attention of the NRCD, the West Pinal. The outcome is that the city of Casa Grande is now aware that this wash could bring some serious flooding. I'm sure Supervisor Miller is very aware of it. And this could happen within the city limits. If heavy rains should occur, the channel needs to be deepened and cleaned. And hopefully this will be addressed and solved before it does damage. Conservation needs begin at the local level. So please get involved by attending an NRCD meeting or a local workshop meeting. Learn more about us, get to know us. The West Pinal board meeting will be on Wednesday, October the 7th. It'll be at our family farm, which is at 841 East Highway 287. That's at the 11-mile corner. Just off of 287 and 11 Mile Corner Road. So it's between Coolidge and Casa Grande. I would like to extend an invitation to anyone who's interested in attending. Get to know us. The meeting begins at 10 o'clock and lunch will be served following the meeting. You can learn more about the meeting by contacting Carolyn Harbison. Her email address is up here. She will put you down on the list and we'll make sure we've got plenty of food for you. And she'll also give you directions. So next, each NRCD meeting, or each NRC is completing a resource needs assessment, which concerns their districts. So I want to tell you a little bit about these resource needs assessment. In 2019, the Arizona Association of Conservation Districts, another acronym, AACD, entered into a partnership agreement with the Natural Resource Conservation Service to complete resource needs assessments. And here's another acronym, NRAs, for all state operating district. I think we sort of need to put out a publication on acronyms. The assessment is based on input from cooperators, interest stakeholders, and partners, and is a comprehensive 5-year program that will provide a current science-based assessment, including maps of all pertinent resource information for each district. This can be used by local work groups, meetings to develop long-range plans and target funds for their most important resource needs, and prioritizing water conservation, soil, and related resources from within their district. So how is this going to get done? Well, here's what Carolyn plans to do for our district. Some of the districts have already done their resource needs assessments, and Carolyn is getting ready to complete the West Pinal, Coolidge, and Florence, in Eloy rather. So here's an example as to how the information is going to be collected. It's going to start right at the grassroots level, and Carolyn is the clerk for West Pinal, Florence Coolidge, and the Eloy NRCDs. She will be interviewing and collecting information from West Pinal, Eloy, and Florence Coolidge partners and stakeholders. After the data is acquired, it's going to go to a mapping contractor. The mapping contractor will develop maps that depict resource concerns and where they are located on the landscape. Eventually, they will go to the AACD so they can be added to the portal. This information will be readily accessible and maintained and updated by NRCS and AACD personnel. So that's just another thing that the conservation districts are doing along with AACD. Again, I want to encourage you to get involved and know your NRCDs. Our natural and renewable natural resources, including agriculture, need to be valued and nurtured so they can be conserved, managed, and available now and for future generations. Carolyn's email address is being displayed on the PowerPoint programs. And also, please don't leave the meeting without her address or Sharma's. Please write them down and be sure that you have them, and plan on attending the West Pinal NRCD meeting on October 7th. And once again, just contact Carolyn for more information about it, and then we'll make sure that you get lunch. So once again, I want to welcome you, and I thank you for being here and taking an interest in the Drought Contingency Plan and the future of Central Arizona Project water deliveries to Pinal County area farmers. We're in a drought, and we need to be managing our resources now, not later. We need to start now. So I'm excited to hear what our Steve Miller has to say about it, Supervisor Miller. And so looking forward to it. And thank you for being here. Get involved.
Thank you, Nancy. And yeah, we'll show Carolyn's email address again, as well as mine, throughout this, so you'll have that. But yeah, thank you so much, Supervisor Caywood. Again, Nancy and others like her, these supervisors in these NRCDs, are volunteering their time, their non-paid positions, to conserve our food supply, which is critical to everybody. We all eat, but also, again, wildlife habitat and all our natural resources, which we depend on. But farmers and ranchers are the original conservationists, and these NRCDs and our supervisors are just dedicated to highlight that. But yeah, as Nancy was saying, please feel free to attend, get involved. If you have any questions about the NRCDs or any connections with any of them, of course, I can put you in touch with them as well. So with that, and I'm going to do one more reminder. Well, it looks like we've got a phone call listener, so I'll try to remember we've got someone on the phone, so to talk about everything that's on the slide and everything we're seeing. But a reminder that if you have any questions or comments at the bottom of the screen, you can hit the chat bar and you can type in a question or comment at any time, and I will read them to the speakers. So I don't see any questions for you, Nancy. We might have some throughout. I think our speakers are going to stick around for the entire event. So I guess if you find the chat button later in the game and you have a question for Nancy, just go ahead and feel free to type it in and I will bring it up to her. But thank you so much, Nancy. We really appreciate your help. We appreciate the NRCDs, the Eloy, Florence Coolidge, as well as the West Pinal, helping to put on this workshop. So I'm going to mute you now, Nancy. Thank you again.
Thank you.
We might have questions for you later. So